Alright, finally ready to go. It is SortOf versus puCK. And it's Group C. And it's on Honor Grounds. It took a pretty long time. The next group stage, you're gonna call it, wasn't supposed to start for another hour and a half, like half an hour ago. So they tried to contact as many the players as possible, see what they could, come around with, and puCK and SortOf were available, I guess. So this is Group C, which is not what we called to cast, but is the only thing that's available. So whenever Group D becomes available, I'm gonna swap over. Let's get the entries out of the way. In the top left is the teal Zerg. He is SortOf. In the bottom left is the red Protoss. It is puCK. Well, I didn't have the opportunity to, I guess is the better way to put it. So call out a bunch of resubs and subs and all that. So thank you to the Herpin Derpin for the 14-month resub. Wix 2001 for the 2-month resub. Pow! Robbie Blitz for the 14-month resub. Happy birthday, Joey. Thank you. Jimmy Jam Jars donated 100 bits. And then earlier, T-Rays for 1,000. Did get that before. Just in case, Phoenix 636 wants to give it 24 months. And that, I think, just about covers it. I also had a personal donation to my own personal link, Streamlabs, whatever, from Dankling. $5. Happy B-Day, Grub. Thank you very much. Yeah, bits are shared among me and Rifkin on the channel, and then any donations to the channel go to the Match Arena fundraiser still. So if you want to donate directly to me, then it has to be through my personal link. Just in case anyone was wondering what was the deal with that, because it can be maybe a little bit confusing. Probably going to change the donations of this channel thing soon, but that hasn't happened quite yet. Okay. Oh boy. Breaks are the worst when it comes to long casts, like you feel okay, you're ready to go, you're in the, the groove of things, and then a long break hits and you just kind of deflated. Twitch is also doing a really bad job of catching new subs, so thank you to Pumpkin Parade for the Twitch Prime sub. New sub. I don't know what it is, but I have to refresh whenever I try and do that. Maybe a tweet as well, let everyone know that we are back to casting, I suppose. Refresh. And I also missed Oritsulu for the new sub as well. Hopefully I didn't miss any more. There we go. Now we're all caught up. Been staring at the X for a very long time. So let's go to the Stargate. Oh, it's right there. Stargate opener for puCK. SortOf just going for 3 expansions. Takes the 3rd base as natural, which is usual, but then goes one step further and takes the 4th base as his 3rd. A lot of reasons to do this. Start the creep spread. Maybe you can be aggressive if that's how you want to play ZvP. This base can be vulnerable anyways if there's like a War Prism drop, so you want to hold off on that. And then if the game goes on, it might actually be just the safer base overall, right? You can get it 20 minutes into a game and it's fully has all the minerals available, and that's better off than what puCK will be trying to expand further and further. But I don't think Honor Grounds really goes to late games a lot of the times. I haven't seen like a truly late game on this map, I think, ever. I've seen some late PvTs with Tempest and Colossus, but I mean, I'm talking about like mining out half of the map scenarios. Now I haven't seen that on Honor Grounds. Newkirk, sure. Proxima, sure. Paladino, I guess just by the nature of the map, probably. Not Honor Grounds. Oracle's now on the way out. Might be able to get a couple kills. Following up the Void Ray. Just going to be looking to take care of Overlord, especially if any Overlord drops. Last group, which was like an hour ago at this point, was all about the Overlord drops. So it is good to clean them up. I assume that's happy birthday, but in a different language, but I wouldn't know. And thank you for all the wishes. Well wishes. Yeah, 3rd base should be on the way soon enough as well. Something that SortOf is going to scout. He's Overlord speed. He's got creep spread on the way out. And that Overlord should die to this Void Ray eventually. Okay, it missed it. It went for the Lings instead. Now, Overlook's getting all types of scouting. Even this Ling, man, maybe he faced puCK earlier. Maybe he was laddering, I don't know, but being ultra paranoid about hidden bases or hidden... well, they wouldn't be proxied, would they? But basically just hidden tech. Not going to be the case. It really is just a pretty standard opener of Stargate into third base. Gets a second Void Ray, which is a little out of the ordinary, but I would say that on Undergrounds, there's a lot of ZvP Roach attacks, Roach Ravager attacks, and that's wouldn't be too bad of an idea to get multiple Void Rays. There's also a chance that he would go into a second Stargate and actually go into Void Rays into carriers, but with the Robo and the Twilight Council being put down now, I'm guessing not. I mean, you can transfer in and out, I suppose. Bit weird way to play, but it does happen. And he's even getting like a third Void Ray, which is like really just kind of out there, but okay, I'm following so far. A little bit of a sniping squad here. It's usually 4 Void Rays with a recall that snipes bases, not 2, so it looks very funny, but believe it or not, SortOf has such limited scouting. These could have just stayed here and not been spotted. Don't have to be too scared of a single queen. I'm surprised he doesn't kill the queen first, but I guess he just really wants that gas geyser. I mean, the queen would be microed back into the Spore Crawler, but I still think it would, you know, take a bit of damage first. It's almost killed this Void Ray. Huge attack at the third base. A lot of Lings coming in here. Not enough Adepts. Mothership Core was, of course, with the Void Ray, so can't post an overcharge. And that might have been a really terrible move to try and use the Void Rays offensively, especially without the Mothership Core available. I mean, really, when you think about it, there's such an open space here that maybe the Mothership Core really shouldn't have been with that. He should have just tried to get what he could and then leave just by microing, not recalling. That might have helped his base. I mean, he didn't really lose that much. It just looked really bad for a second. But yeah, the with no overcharge, I think available was like panic attack for a second. Okay, so Ling's used up. You're not getting too much. Sort of only up 3 workers. On his way to Hydras. He took down the 4th base already. 4th base rock, so he's going to get a gold base. So he's going to have a lot of open bases to take. This one's always going to be vulnerable to Warp Prisms, but, you know, build a couple of Spore Crawlers, maybe you don't have to worry about that. This one is going to be vulnerable to, of course, attacks on the high ground in case, you know, Colossus or even just Stalkers come out. This base is just moving towards your opponent, which clearly SortOf doesn't want to do. And it would probably be the most contested point of the map as the game continues on. This time, not bringing the Mothership Core, realizing it might just be better off having the 4 Void Rays. They will definitely take down a Spore Crawler. This does not stop them, but I think that SortOf was just not anticipating 4 Void Rays, because who really does? I mean, if you see this, I think there's like a brief moment in your mind where like, wait, are they going to like mass Stargate? And then you realize that you scouted most of everything, and they're definitely not, but it was like a little bit of a question mark, because 4 Void Rays, even back when you saw this snipe group squad, like, more often, it was because they were going for mass Void Rays. Like, they didn't stop before just cause. It's really odd to see puCK do this. He's got a Warp Prism off to the top right. puCK definitely has some really good multitasking. Like, he can be a very fun player to watch for sure. But he has been focusing a lot more on school. He didn't even remember the name of the maps for this last season's map pool until I had to tell him, because he's just been studying so much. So it's always like, where exactly is he? SortOf course, has been training in Korea for a couple months now and should be really showing his skills. Didn't get too far in DreamHack, but I don't know if that was the true showcase of his skills, or there could have been some jet lag involved in that as well. I think he's back in Korea, but I'm not sure. He might be at the Penthouse party. Yeah, I'm not sure what he's doing, to be honest. Because if he was in Korea... Oh, no, we are in NA. Sorry. I mean, I'm only so sorry, but yeah, we are NA West, so... Okay, yeah, SortOf should be in Korea because of that, because puCK, I think, is like middle or... Yeah, he's US mid. US Central is what they call it. He's a mid laner in US. Sure. The point is, yeah, I'm pretty sure SortOf went back to Korea. So he might be a little bit just tired just from that, actually, going from Austin to Korea. Anyway. Huge Hydra's Force. Just took out the Oracle before it cast Revelation, so that kind of sucks. puCK doesn't have exact knowledge about where the Hydra's Force is. Oh. And while he knows where it's coming from, like, obviously, it still would be really nice to know exactly how many Banelings are coming forward, how they're splitting up their Hydras, and where you can get away with your positioning of your army. Banelings actually roll into the 3rd base. Get a decent number of probes, because I think someone down over here as well, but not too much besides that. And 12 probes really isn't too devastating since he is on 4 bases. Void Rays covering any other drops that are going to come through here, and SortOf is not only deterred from doing further Baneling drops, but also there is that potential he could have gone for a Mass Doom drop. We've seen it once or twice lately. But not against Void Rays. Still some storms available, but the Concave is quite good for SortOf. Not enough charge lots to help tear down the Hydras that are weak from the storms either. Still a very scary scenario, but the storms are running out, and it's awfully tempting to turn them into Archons. They get a Manticore for the 34-month resub. ZvP. SortOf had this base already, not even fully saturated, but he also takes this base. Apparently he's going to take this base as well, just totally out-expanding puCK. If puCK could hold, I mean, the whole idea, right, is that Zerg masses and Protoss gets very good units and just micros very well with them. If he could do that, that wouldn't be that scary, but unfortunately, while the storms are plentiful, they're getting out-positioned. They just cannot take care of the amount of Hydras getting a Concave, and GG SortOf takes #1 with pretty much brute force. Yeah, just kind of maxed out and then attacked. SortOf looked quite strong, and as I said, puCK has been busy studying, so it might just be a 2-0. Again, this is a temporary presence in Group C. As really, I was planning on casting Group D, but it's not available yet. Here we are. It's game number 2 in the top left. As the blue Zerg, it is SortOf. In the bottom right is the red Protoss. It is puCK. Pretty early scout here. Let's make sure SortOf doesn't have anything sneaky. I mean, this includes not only early pools, but just like earlier pools with fast gas. Also looking for, of course, the pylon block. If you can get it, then go for it, you know? And if they don't preempt it by going to the 3rd base with the drone, then more power to the Protoss. It'll be very, very annoying. Yeah, SortOf just immediately is like, whatever, I don't care. Their base is really not too bad for this Zerg to take. And, you know, 3 hatch for a pool isn't really popular anymore, so I don't think he minds. Gas now taken and followed by a pool. Usually not a reason not to do this as a Zerg player, as most Protosses don't proxy gateway, or 1 base. Although we did see that from Neeb earlier on. Not today, but like yesterday, I think? Something like that? And a lot of casting. You can type ! brackets, and I think that still works. So, if you're wondering what the groups look like, because it can be a little confusing. Usually 2 groups are happening at once, and there's a total of 6 to 8 groups, I guess, being played today. They're going to decide the last 2 groups as it gets closer to them. Determine whether they should play them on or off stream. It's already a super long day. Nothing to decide yet, so I'm for finishing up. Oh boy. It is going to be a really long day. I'll be solo casting the rest of my time here, which includes the next group at least, if not a little bit more after that. And then Rifkin's going to come in and solo cast whatever is left. Earlier today, there's Maynard who helped out for like 3 hours, which was very helpful indeed. But he's feeling a little bit sick, unwell as well. So, take it I can get. Tomorrow is going to be roughly the same thing, group stage 2, and then of course Sunday is going to be the round of 8, I think, and above. Maybe round of 16, I don't remember. But the point is, it'll be finals day. So long days all over the place. Lings just run on in here. Not much puck can do. We'll see the Twilight Council, the Chrono on the Adepts, Resident Glaives as well, and full knowledge here. Full knowledge for SortOf. Adepts try and be kind of sneaky over here, but it is only one, so very instantly denied. And now what really SortOf has to look for is if it's going to be an all-in following this, or really just the opener, and then what is the follow-up to this opener if that's the case. I mean, this could be into double Stargate, it could be into a Robo. We saw earlier Harsum use this and go into a Dark Shrine, Dark Templar drop with the Warp Prism. There's a few different options, and there is a Robo on the way. Just the Robo. This is something that SortOf could see if he just scouted with a Ling at the front. Not quite getting around to it quite yet. I mean, as long as he sees the Adepts leaving and he has a good idea of that, you know, Adepts have to at least try and do something if you're going to research Resonating Glaives, even if that means they run forward and immediately run back. They got to at least leave the base. If they don't, I mean, I guess it does play out okay, and we've seen it happen before, as Protosses have kind of gone in and out of being super afraid of Zerg and really trying to take control of the Zerg player, you know? But it's usually not what they want to have happen, because it SortOf, you know, thinks he has the opportunity, he's going to drone, and you're supposed to stop that. So the Adept Shade, I think, might have been scouted by that Ling. puCK kind of being clever here, not going to the obvious path, so this Ling didn't see it. Oh, I might die. Yeah, it is. Warp Prism on the way. puCK has the third base here, but he has stopped building probes at 41. The Adepts are, I guess, only the first to come here. They're still off of 3 gateways. It's not too scary, but it is going to be something a little bit more than maybe SortOf was anticipating. Really, if you have enough Lings, you can deal with this, especially if you get on top of them without them being in a mineral line or on a wall. It's perfectly fine. But if they surprise you with 2 more 3 Adept Warp-ins, then maybe that gets a little more complicated without Banlings. The Warp Prism is moving across the map. Again, just 3 gateways. Now adding on 2. And now adding on more probes. The third base does finish up. But he definitely cut a little bit there. So SortOf, as well, now building his drones. Getting +1. Still no Banelings in play, but a Baneling is available. Queens very nicely deny that Warp Prism. Doesn't quite take any hull damage, but that's instant denial. A lot of sentries banking energy. puCK needs to do some decent scouting with this, and maybe a little bit of harassment. Adepts, I guess they just load up in the Warp Prism mostly. Spinecrawler here is going to take care of those Adepts as well, or at least stop them from doing a lot of damage. And this is a very proper defense. Macro Hatchery on the way. +1 already done. Only 2 drones have died. They're still at a very even worker count. Now we have a big burst of gateways for puCK. None at his third base protecting, but also none that are could be sacrificed too. I mean, it's a double-edged sword when you go to gateways on your third base. You know, puCK, he's moving out here. He's got 2 Immortals. He's got a decent number of sentries with a lot of force fields, and SortOf does see that. SortOf just made 3 Overlords, though. Drop Overlords. And he is planning on doing some drop attacks. I mean, this could have also been harassment. It could have also been for a Doom drop. But now it's definitely going to be used for just dropping on the army. And this is an army that is very vulnerable to that. If puCK has no idea this is coming, and I'm not sure that he does. He knows Banelings are around, but he doesn't realize that there's summon Overlords. That split just might not be good enough. Here it comes now. That Warp Prism's already low from trying to harass as well. SortOf does kind of tip his hand, unfortunately, so puCK will definitely be pre-split and looking maybe even to... I wondered if he was going to try and warp in Stalkers, but no, just going to try and split to the best visibility. Force Field's already coming down. Gets a Queen, gets 2 Queens. Banelings funnel through a single tiny little choke over there, so pretty good control so far from puCK, and SortOf still looking for an opportunity to use those Overlord drops. He's got Baneling speed and +2 finally on the way, but he definitely took a stop to get to these drops instead of that, and that's going to be a long ways off. Force Field's still available, even after these ones are planted down. And puCK is really commanding this as best as he can, but now a little bit scared, SortOf thinking about it. Thing is, sentries don't have very good DPS, but if you really only chase with your Overlords, there might be a chance they die, and that'd just be a waste. Because, you know, otherwise, SortOf could just, right, like, he could just say, okay, you're not attacking into me, I'm not attacking into you, so I guess I'll just macro. He's got a 4th base finally on the way. He's got an infestation pit. I mean, he has eyes on puCK's 3rd, and he sees that there's there's probes and gases taken. So, I mean, it's still a lot of adepts to deal with, but I think the assumption is there that puCK is also preparing to transfer out of this attack. As I said, Overlords don't die too quickly to Sentries, but one almost goes down. Queen on top of that War Prism. Second War Prism already available, though, so I guess that's not too much to worry about. A couple more Force Fields go down, but he has run out of them, and Banelings just simply swamp over everything. puCK overstaying his welcome by a long shot, also not having warped in until just now. Herder. TaKeTV has been having some troubles. Looks like it plagues them once more. I think the audio of the warp in is having a tough time. It's like I've never been stuck before. It's really confused. In and out, in and out. Yeah, I'm not really an official on this, to be honest, so...
Game paused.
Ugh.
Game resumed.
Unfortunately, it was kind of during a really heated battle, so this is not the most inopportune moment to drop out, but it was very testy for puCK, who's got to be right on top of his micro instantly. He had opened a lot of adepts, and he has 2 War Prisms that are trying their hardest to micro, and it's not going too shabby. He does manage to soak up all of the Banelings that sort of had, and save his 1 War Prism and 2 Immortals. Oh, the healthiest War Prism did die, so that kind of sucks. puCK not wanting to stop with the aggression, noticing that all the Banelings were used up, he wants to continue warping in. Sort of has +1 on those Lings, but there's just adepts are pretty darn good. He's about to have +2 though, and puCK might once again be overstaying his welcome. He's got a 4th base behind this. He does have a Templar Archives, and I think he only recently got a Forge, so that's why he's so behind in upgrades. But SortOf not only getting upgrades himself, but also getting a Hive. Almost done with that. Maybe could have made a pit stop at Infestors, but decided he didn't have to, didn't want to. So many Banelings available. The Archons, there's not even enough of them to soak them up. So the Adepts get absolutely murdered. War Prism Micro is still pretty cool to look at. And it's making it look maybe not as bad as it should. But Lead Armor Supply and those upgrades are not looking so hot. And don't forget that SortOf can now one-shot probes with 1 Baneling, so it's always very scary. Junior Gland's on the way, Ultra's Cavern on the way. If this was a regular follow-up, you know, a quicker macro follow-up, I should say, from puCK, had he given up a little bit sooner and already had 2 Robos producing Immortals, Ultras can sometimes actually be kind of like a bad move. If they get up to a decent number of Immortals, let's say 6+, and they also have a defensive setup at home so that Lings can't, you know, interrupt the Immortal versus Ultra dynamic, then it, you know, sometimes it looks kind of bad. But puCK doesn't have a lot of Immortals, and he doesn't have a lot of stuff to protect his Immortals as the Adepts run in here against +2 Lings. Baneling's not even really necessary to help clean these up pretty quick. 2 War Prisms will continue to harass, and that's gonna still be pretty cool. In fact, they're 2 brand new War Prisms because the other one died. No, he's at 3. Holy shit. He's at 3 War Prisms now. He is on full Todd. Where's the hallucinated, you know, other 2? Because that would really be the cherry on top. Queens are trying to, like, micro against the War Prisms, which is so cool, by the way. Like, it's really drop-on-drop action. But the War Prism, once again, microed. Queen's kind of tough to deal with, though, when they have that many transfuses. This one cleaned up. War Prism still alive over there, though. These Queens picked up and microed as well. This one's still available, but needs something in it to truly be scary. puCK has got a lot of time. He's got his 4th base up. He's got his gases up. And he's finally on his way to upgrades, but his upgrades have fallen So far behind. He's going to be up against 3-1 and Kite Splitting Ultras with only a single upgrade in his pocket. I mean, it's a pretty cool looking game from puCK. A lot of kudos for me. Really enjoy this game. But SortOf does have what could be the scarier army, especially because puCK not only doesn't have upgrades, but he also hasn't really been producing Immortals that consistently. I think he still had the 2. No, he lost one. Okay. One Immortal Archon. So he's only going to have 2. And while the army supplies aren't terrible, only down like 15, it's like, it's got to be in a defensive position, and expanding again might be very difficult for puCK. Sort of not exactly on the gravy train to a win here, though. I mean, I'm painting a bleak picture for puCK, but he has done a great job recovering from what could have been a much, much worse game over scenario. And sort of does find himself maybe not on, you know, the biggest bank that he would want, and he's not maxed out like he would have wanted to be. And, you know, if he was maxed out, that's running in a puCK and just being like, lol, you're dead. But with only 30 supply overall being in the lead here, it's actually not nearly as easy. And this is, again, if there were more Immortals especially, I would say that puCK would just be golden against Ultras. So sort of maybe anticipating this, maybe realizing the Ultra thing isn't going to work out as well as he anticipated, goes for Aspire. Continuing on his upgrades as well. Definitely going to have those in the lead. puCK starts transferring out of ground, or prepares to transfer into Anti-Broodlord, I think it's a better way to say it. As he does have 2 Stargates on the way. Gotta get a Fleet Beacon as well. Stalkers are going to have Blink eventually, so there is that baseline defense against Broodlords, but obviously not the ideal. But they do take care of the Overlords. Storm doesn't do a bad job at all helping these cannons. These are Adrenal Gland 3-1 Lings, so they do survive. If only there was a second Storm there. That would have been very helpful. They get a full surround on that Nexus, it goes down. There's just, it's oh my god, Lings, please. Does lose a lot of Lings at the end of it, but these are just Lings, you know? And that's totally worthwhile for SortOf, especially since he saves a lot of them and can continue another attack later on. War Prism is still available, by the way. Like, 2 of them are still alive. Nope, the other one's still alive too. I just brought home. I keep thinking he's gonna lose it, and then I'm always wrong. I'm gonna think he's gonna have 3 War Prisms. He's actually gonna have 0. Just wait and see. Big cancel there. So he realizes the army is totally in position. But this is just further giving puCK time. I mean, really, I think if the Protoss can match the air timing of the Zerg, I think it's the Zerg that is gonna have trouble from there. I mean, puCK is getting to Tempests and even faster than SortOf gets to Broodlords, yes, but he doesn't have much of economy, so that's always like kind of the difference maker, I suppose. But it's like, I don't know, like if he secures his 5th, which he now has his army protecting, and gets to a decent number of Tempests, and he already has Storm, then SortOf might have a lot of trouble ending this game. I mean, their banks have gone to a pretty similar, you know, point. Upgrade still massively in favor of SortOf, but is that going to matter if he's going to depend so much on Broodlords? Probably not. Mortal count has even grown too to deal with the Ultras for sure. And there's a lot of Storms. A lot of Storms available to help blanket whatever covers the Ultras and Broodlords. And feedbacks! So Vipers and Infestors are just like... Well, actually this is really cool. But they're very dangerous to use, and sometimes Zergs don't even bother getting them. But I love the Burrow. Just confirms. Oh my god, how many times you see that happen? You never. That's the answer. Never. I can't believe I just witnessed that. That was so brutal. The Storms are supposed to be able to wash off the Lings and Banelings from this army, and while it's still a very powerful army, Archons and Immortals, there's enough Ultras and as well as a Neural Parasited Immortal. There's also a counterattack on the natural of puCK that he was not going to be able to clean up with his bank being depleted, but oh my god. I thought he was on his way to bringing the game back and even being in a lead. And then boom. Fucking Neural Parasite. That game went on so long in such a dramatic fashion, back and forth, all about this bare bones ground army. Link Banling versus Mass Adepts. Can you really blame him for not thinking to get an Oracle for Revelation or an Observer? I can't, because I kind of forgot that was a thing. So, unfortunately that's a 2-0, man. Like, I really wish it wasn't after that last game. puCK really was very cool. but sort of a little bit cooler with the Neural Parasite. Shit. Well, that also means, and not only do we not get a maybe epic game number 3, it also means we might be stuck in a little bit of limbo. I don't know if the other match is available. I haven't been notified about the group being available, so I'm gonna assume we're getting into Showtime versus Broderick next, but it might be a little while once again. That's the way things go. Yeah, see you guys whenever game's ready.